Hello, Justice Warriors. Good afternoon. It is June 19th. It's just after 2, and I'm so happy to be coming on live with you guys today. I might not be able to come on live for a few days, so I wanted to let you know that we're going to be traveling for the weekend starting tomorrow, the whole family. We're going to have fun, but I will do what I can. I'll try to post like community posts. I'll see if I can get a video or two going, or maybe I can just join in on some panels, or I'll certainly be in chats, right? But probably not too much because I need to spend time with my family. So I wanted to come on today and talk a little bit about Micah Miller's case and also Kylie Rodney's case. I really feel like there's traction on both of these moving forward right now, and I find that absolutely thrilling, especially with Kylie Rodney's case, because Lord knows her case has been kind of at a standstill for a while. We're coming up on the 2-year anniversary, right? That's nuts. Let me do a quick little thing with, my normal routine. Please make sure you're still subscribed if you are subscribed. And if you're not, why not? Please, I beg of you, just hit that button. And there's no commitment. It doesn't cost you a dime. It helps me a lot, and I would appreciate it. I need all the help I can get. Share one of my videos if you like it and you think that you know somebody else who would like my channel, and turn on your notification bell to ring. I can't believe I don't have anybody in my chat. Where are all my home fries? That's okay. That's okay. So yeah, I had said in the title that I needed to keep this a little bit short-ish, and I do. So if there's no conversation with the chat, then, but let me get to my, this thing. Let me get my this thing. Is that going to be the right way? Is that going to be the wrong way? Remember that song, The Wrong Way, with Sublime that Kylie had quoted in her social media, The Wrong Way? Like, that's a really creepy song. I love Sublime and I love a lot of their songs, but I do not like that one. And I did not like that Kylie was quoting it, but who am I to judge? She probably had good reason, and that's why I'm bringing it up, is that it's really frightening. It's about a girl who basically gets violated by, I don't know, dudes in her family, something like that. Let's not talk about it. It's too disgusting. Anyway, for the life of me, I cannot understand how people bought into the crap that was being fed us, that continues to be fed to us in that case. And that's where yesterday in the chat, somebody said that they thought maybe it was like a social experiment. And you have to wonder, because they say and do these wild things. Like, for instance, they said that their sole focus was to help find Kylie. First of all, that's really peculiar verbiage. That was law enforcement. Their sole purpose was to help find Kylie. Wouldn't their sole purpose be to find Kylie? Like, who are they helping? Who's going to find Kylie if not them? That's just weird. That always bothered me. And if they really were trying to find her, and they were, hundreds of them, 50 of them being federal agents, FBI agents, standing on the shoreline, maybe 50 feet from where her car was under the shallow, crystal clear water, if they were really trying to find her and they couldn't, they would be the biggest buffoons in the world. And that's a possibility. But what I see with corruption is that they try to pull the buffoonery card. I've seen that again and again. It's like, oh yeah, we're just so stupid. We don't know, one body part from our elbow, or the stuff that comes out in a body part that you can get mixed up with shinola, right? I'm trying not to use the cursey words. And yeah, just huge buffoonery. if they were that incompetent, then they should be investigated for the incompetence. They should be reprimanded, and they should probably be not in that field, correct? Obviously. So let me do my disclaimer real quick here. Everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of starting a conversation, hoping to open up a discussion and learn something and be educational. All my videos are made for YouTube. It's an entertainment platform. And I'm just really, really happy to be a content creator. So I thank you for watching my videos, even if I'm here all alone on my live. And that never happens. I don't know. Like maybe 6 minutes has been the longest that I've ever been alone on a live. Maybe this will be the record because we're already just past 5. And let's see. I was catching up on a Mark Molina video. I'll put a link to that in my description. He brought up again, if he spoke with somebody that was a local who said that if anybody in Truckee were to talk, that they would suffer the repercussions for many years to come. So that makes me think generational, that it's not just them that they're protecting, it's their whole family. That's usually the way small towns work. And then that makes me wonder, was Kylie a retaliation, a retaliatory action from something long ago, like the granddad's water rights business and his lawsuit with the federal government? Could Kylie be a sacrificial lamb, so to speak, as generational retaliation for family drama? You know, the Montagues and the Capulets, right? Classic. I think it's important to pay attention to the super wealthy, elite, heavy hitters and high rollers in that area. We know the creator of Facewall or My Book or something like that, right? and then we know Jägermeister and one of the Nates. Their families have vineyards. Their grandfathers knew each other. Their families are financially connected, especially the H family. Like they are kind of involved in a lot of boards of directors and such that really have a lot of global power. Serious. If you haven't looked into that, look into it. It's crazy. You just Google their last name and you'll get lots of articles. And I'm pretty sure the same thing with Jägermeister's last name, but the granddads knew each other. So interesting, you know, that Kylie's granddad was in litigation with Scammy's mom and dad. So another thing that Mr. Mark brought up, and thank you, Mark, for all your thoughtful points of conversation. He brought up Scammy and her new tattoo with the snake. I used a photograph of it for half of my thumbnail a couple days ago. So she still has that like kind of tree or flower weird tattoo on the center of her chest. And then she's got this little like what looks like a snake on her collarbone, which is very apropos. I mean, she's Scammy the snake as far as I'm concerned. And looking back on that infamous Tony Dodge interview, and she's talking and kind of like trying to hypnotize everybody with her story. And I just thought of that character in the Jungle Book, the Disney movie with the spinning eyes, the snake, you know, just look into my eyes. And you know, that's how the snake hypnotizes people to then eat them, or creatures to then eat them. Anyway, the lack of integrity in Truckee, the lack of integrity with the case is beyond measure. Sorry for that loud truck. Can you hear that? A delivery truck or something. Anyway, I was going to share with you the big thing that was happening today, and it already happened, and I'm so excited. I'll tell you in a minute. Let's see. Lack of investigating. If sole focus was to find her, then she was not there when they were looking. That's what I was trying to say. I'm glad I just read it out loud to you. She was not there. Her vehicle was not there in the water, is my point that I was making a minute ago, with all of those authorities right there at the scene. If they couldn't see her there, and yeah, they needed to treat it as a crime scene, they were acting as if it could have potentially been criminal activity when they started talking abduction, right? It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. So if people in Truckee are afraid to talk, what are they afraid of? And what is it that they have to say that they're not saying? Will we ever know? And a couple more great points that Mr. Mark brings up. This is why I love watching Mr. Mark Investigates. Where's our Lifetime movie about Kylie Rodney missing from a party, right? You look up a bunch of movies from the Watts case. You look up a bunch of movies from Amy Winehouse's sad, tragic life, and they're all over the place. There's handfuls of them, right? There's not a single 2020, 60 Minutes, or that wouldn't be really like Dateline 2020 or 48 Hours. There's none of that for Kylie Rodney. And Mark brought up Lifetime movie, and that's a great one. Yeah, this would be perfect. Hey, Katie Van, it's been a while. 11 minutes. Thank you so much for coming on in. That's like the longest I've gone without having a comment. So it's been so quiet. Lovely to see you. How are you today? And what are you up to? So I wanted to share with you guys that I've been kind of gridlocked in my psyche and in my life. I've literally had a giant 400-pound safe plunked in the center of my dining room in its box for over a month. Giant safe, like the size of a refrigerator. And when it showed up, I had no warning. It was something that my beloved significant other purchased. And, I tried to talk about it with him. We tried to go back and forth. It didn't go well. Very stressful. In one of these conversations, if you want to call it that, that's being a little lenient, I said, honey, it would be like me going and buying an elephant and placing it in the center of the living room, like right where you're standing, without consulting with you first. Like, would that be okay? So anyway, I had made some calls a couple weeks ago because it was from Costco, and I called them to see how much it would cost to return it. And, Costco and me go back. I think I've been a member there for over 30 years. I love Costco. So I'm thinking this thing literally weighs 400 pounds. The men who delivered it were like cursing. They could barely get it in the door. I'm not exaggerating. And I called them to see what the pickup fee would be, or what penalty we would have to pay for returning it. And they're Costco. They said, nothing. It's free. We'll come pick it up. So I went ahead and scheduled it without talking to my partner prior. And he already has one. Let me add that. He already has a safe, a big safe. This one was like twice as big. And we don't have room for it in our house. And we don't have a garage. And we don't have an outbuilding. Like, if you had a garage or an outbuilding, that's where it would go. Like, it's not a safe that anybody would have in their house, honestly. Except my husband would have, if I hadn't put my foot down. So, I was trying not to have a power struggle with him. I was trying not to crush his dream, because he's like, I've wanted a safe like this my entire life, and now I finally have it, and now you're trying to make me give it up. And so when I scheduled it, I wasn't planning on scheduling it without consulting with him. But when I called to ask them how much it cost to return it, they said that you have to schedule it in advance, and they were looking to see when their next availability would be. And it was like a week out. So I was like, great, let's go ahead and schedule it. And I'll talk to my husband, make sure that that's okay. So we weren't like communicating very well. And so he just went ahead and canceled it without consulting with me, kind of an eye for an eye. And I rescheduled it after consulting with him. So I thought this time would go better. Couple of things happened. First of all, they came at the scheduled time that was canceled, and we weren't around to answer the door to let them in to take it. So I was crushed. I was just like, oh man, so close. And then when it was rescheduled, some more miscommunication happened, and I think he might have canceled it again, but he wasn't real clear. I tried to ask him real direct, and it was this past Saturday, and they were supposed to come between like 1:30 and 3:30, and I sat there on the couch looking out the window from 1:30 to 3:30. Like I was like a dog, like all excited when I'd see a vehicle. I'm like, is it that them? Are they coming to take it and get my life back on track? And so they didn't come. So I called at like 3:30 when they didn't come to see if maybe they were running late. And so then, there's just all this confusion with the confusion in our house and then the confusion on their end. And they're Costco. They're the best. So, they took care of it. It was scheduled for today from 3 to 5. So I have an appointment that I need to be at 3:30. I asked my daughter if she could be here, my adult daughter, and she said she could. So I'm like, great. But it's a big ordeal, and you have to like help them coordinate and stuff to squeeze it out the front door and around the gate and the driveway and all this stuff. So, long story short, they showed up early. I was trying to get set up for my live, and the doorbell rings, and I'm just like, holy moly. And they came and they took it. These men, have you seen those belts that they like put over their shoulders? And then it's like this wide, like maybe 5 inches wide, and it goes under whatever giant piece of furniture. And then the two of them carry the thing on the weight of their shoulders. I didn't think they could do that with this because it was 400 pounds. And these dudes, one of them was kind of slender. The other one was pretty stout. They came in, they picked that thing up, they walked it out the front door. It took them like 3 minutes. I'm not even kidding. Anyway, I feel like I have my life back. Like I thought I was going to have a nervous breakdown on Saturday with all that. They were trying to still get there Saturday night, but they couldn't. And then Sunday was Sunday. So we had to wait until Monday, and then they couldn't reschedule it until today. And I was just like, oh my God. And especially with leaving town tomorrow, I'm like, we got to get this out of here before. So it's gone. It's gone. And hopefully it won't come back. It won't boomerang. And I've wanted to share it with you, but it was such a sore point of contention. Like, I didn't think I could survive this ordeal. And my husband and I have been together for 34 years. And I was like, is this going to be the deal breaker? It's not so much the thing. It was the communication and the disrespect around the thing. Like, I wouldn't go buy something that big and that expensive without running it by my spouse. Man, anyway, like I said, he already has one. So that's the thing that I was going to share with you guys. And thanks for listening. Thanks for letting me get that off my chest. Hello, Mrs. Amir. Lovely to see you, Susie. It's Sudi. It's been forever. How are you? So yeah, I'm doing a lot better. I hope you guys are doing well too. So let's talk about Micah. Let me take some drink of my iced coffee. It is so flippin' hot here today, you guys. You walk outside, and even in the middle of the night last night, because it was garbage night, you walk outside and it was like a freaking sauna. So I don't usually drink iced coffee. I usually just stick with the regular coffee, but this is iced coffee. And let's see. I already put the link in my description to the Robbie Harvey's most recent video that is, let's see, we're 19 minutes in. I literally think he dropped it half an hour ago. It's that fresh. And it's only like an 8-minute video, but I was able to watch it right before I came on. And he's talking about that incident that JP had, that violent incident that he had on his record that was expunged or pardoned or whatever, both. It was expunged and pardoned. And he played the tape of JP, I think it's on a Zoom call with the judge and his lawyer. And you've got to watch this, the Robbie Harvey video. The guy has been doing great work. You're probably familiar with him if you're familiar with the Micah Miller case, because he's been pretty central to it. Him and Justin on TikTok and a couple of others have been very, very central. I didn't know any of these channels before the Micah Miller case, and there's some really great channels that I've been really happy to get acquainted with. So some things that I learned while I took notes. Oh, the way JP spoke about that person, no, the person, was how he referred to the woman that he ran over. The person. He didn't want to say woman. But also, it's very distancing language. So he just told a whole freaking pile of lies to this judge, and this judge ate it up with a spoon. It was gross. It was absolutely gross. And he's explaining how the whole thing was just a big misunderstanding. Like literally, he ran this person over, dragged them, ran them over again, I think. And he tried to play it off like it was a big misunderstanding because the person wasn't there to defend their side of the story. And he's saying, oh, there was this flood and I don't know how it happened. And I didn't even know that it happened. And then I didn't even know that it was on my record. But yeah, I've really cleaned up my life and I'm not the same person that I was when I was 19. It's like, but you just said that you didn't do anything wrong when you were 19. So wait, huh? So he is admitting inadvertently by accident that he was, a thug back then. And he's trying to say what a great guy he is now because he does all these ministries and he's so concerned about everybody else and connecting with Jesus. And he's just so philanthropic. I can't even say the word philanthropic. Philanthropic. Help me out here. That's hilarious. Altruistic. I'll just go with that. So, he's talking about all the things that he's built with his church and how he's so wonderful and how he's just such a great guy and he's giving back so much to his community and that, he just doesn't like how it feels to have this on his record. It's like, well, you don't know what it feels like to not have it on your record because it's been on your record since you were 19. I found out his birthday. JP's birthday is May 20th, 1979. So he turned 45 about 3.5 weeks after Micah passed away. So that's why people were saying in the beginning of the case that he was 44 years old, and then it switched to 45, and I didn't know his birthday. So 5/20/79, that's his DOB. And this incident happened 2/11/98. And then here he was 20 years later trying to get his civil liberties restored. Interesting that he chose that word because his civil liberties is exactly what he took away from Micah illegally this past February. And apparently that was the 3 times that he's had her hospitalized. I don't know if this was the only one that was against her will or if 1 or 2 of the others were against her will too. But that's stripping somebody of their civil liberties to do an involuntary psychiatric commitment. And like I've mentioned in the last few days, when I did those psychiatric evaluations, crisis interventions, I felt fine with stripping people of their civil liberties in the event that that was the only way to ensure their safety. And even if they were unhappy about it during the interaction and during the evaluation and the disposition, they usually came around by the end of the interaction and thanked me for helping them through this like worst day of their life, basically. And there was one or two that, weren't happy at the end of the interaction. And one of those I ran into in the grocery store like a year later, and she came running up to me to tell me, I am so sorry. I treated you so bad that day. I was so mad. And, I realized within a couple of days that, you were like doing me a huge favor, and thank you, thank you, thank you. And that was nice to hear. But I knew that already because of the way I did my job. I took it very seriously. And I didn't want to lock up anybody that didn't meet the criteria. Even though I did want to help people get treatment that didn't realize that they needed treatment. And you couldn't really do that without revoking their civil liberties. So anyway, so that was a real positive experience in a lot of ways. But I shared with you guys the other day that I only did it for a couple of years because I did feel like I was part of a system that was broken, that wasn't really working. And I didn't want to be part of that system. And that's when I got into my private practice. And, so I was a county designated mental health professional, first for Kitsap County and then for King County. And then I also worked in the family court in King County. And the family court in King County is where I had the litigation. I just want you guys to know it didn't have anything to do with the mental health court. That's totally different. So anyway, in case you were wondering, what else? So he would strip Micah of his civil liberties, but really when he was trying to get this expunged and pardoned off of his record, it was most likely so he could buy weapons. It was not, I mean, I guess you could call that your civil liberty, right? Okay, we'll give him that. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. What he meant when he said civil liberties is, I want to buy guns, damn it. And if indeed he has a connection directly to his estranged wife losing her life, even if she did it herself, which I don't like to even say that because I really don't think that that's on the table. I really think that 911 call was fabricated. I think the whole freaking thing, when somebody hires someone, you guys have seen Fargo, right? Like Fargo, that movie from way back in the 90s with Frances McDermott and Steve Buscemi and some other great actors. But Frances McDermott probably won an Oscar for that. And then Steve Buscemi had a very successful career after playing one of the thugs in that movie. That movie depicts really well what happens when you interact with that kind of reality. And that movie Fargo, a man hires a couple of thugs to fake kidnap his wife so that he can extort money from her dad, who's rich AF, and kind of cutting him off because he's been on her daddy's payroll forever and he's just sick of the guy. So he sets up this fake kidnapping and everything goes sideways, and she ends up not surviving because these thugs don't know what they're doing, and they basically accidentally they're treating her so poorly because they don't know how to take care of a person when they have them tied up and they need to stretch and they need water and they need food and they need to toilet themselves and they need to sleep, they need to lay down. So she passed away pretty quickly because they thought they could just tie her to a chair and forget about her. So that didn't go well. And then it was just a bloodbath. And I think it was the Steve Buscemi character, he gets unalived by his partner in crime. And the dad, the one that was the wealthy guy, he gets slaughtered. A couple other people get slaughtered. It's just a freaking bloodbath. it's just everything in the world that goes wrong when all this guy was doing was trying to orchestrate a fake kidnapping. And who would have thought, right? I mean, they say that movie is based on a true story, and even if it's not, it just does a really good job depicting the type of stuff that can happen. So my point is that if there was something like that going on with JP and Micah, and I think there was something similar to that going on, the people that he's going to be associating himself with, or the people that the lawyer dude might be associating himself with, unsavory to say the least. And when you look at all of the surveillance footage from the gas station, from the pawn shop, I think it's very apparent that the gang stalking is going on. And you can like look at this person and you can look at that person, and you know, there's that plausible deniability. Like, oh yeah, these are just people like walking around in the store aimlessly, not looking to purchase anything and not purchasing anything. Like, that's not normal. Like, people that do that might be, I don't know, traffickers or something like that. People go into stores to buy things. Like, they're looking at the shelves and they're there to purchase something. And if they can't find what they're there to purchase, then after trying to find it and not finding it, they'll usually talk to somebody at the counter to make sure they're not missing it. And then they leave, right? I mean, I've done that many times where I'm trying to find something and I'm like, well, I better ask someone in case I'm looking in the wrong place. And half the time, that's the problem, is that you're looking in the wrong place. So anyway, you know, you've got all these people kind of meandering aimlessly through the pawn shop. And then you've got these people kind of driving aimlessly at that little gas station. The guy on the bike, you guys, have you watched these surveillance footage tapes that I'm talking about? I don't like the guy on the bike. There's something about that guy that really gives me the heebie-jeebies. But what I'm saying is that these people could all be gang stalking her. And she seemed to know it. She seemed to be aware of it. One of the things at the gas station that's so odd is how she pulls up and she parks. She goes in and she buys a drink. And then I think she uses the porta potty. And then I think she gets back in her car. And then she drives to the gas pump. And then she goes back in to pay. And then she comes out and pumps her gas. And while she's doing this, I mean, that's a weird series of things to start with. Like, normally you'd pull up to the gas pump, you'd go in and you'd pay and buy your drink at the same time. So was she trying to kill time? Was she trying to figure out what she was supposed to do? Was she kind of baiting people and waiting to see who had followed her? It's all possible. And in all of that footage, it looked to me that she knew, like, especially in the pawn shop, like, she's turning around and looking, literally looking over her shoulder. You don't normally do that. When you're at a counter purchasing something, there's going to be people in the store, and you expect that, and you don't get creeped out by it, and you don't look at them, and you don't make eye contact. You just, you know, kind of, it's just normal stuff. But she's not acting normal, and these other people aren't acting normal. So I think that the gang stalking was true to form. I think that that is 100% apparent, and that a lot of people are realizing that, and that's great. It's so cool that that channel, Freedom Voices Online, that he's had his channel, I think, for like 5 years, and he's been trying to raise awareness about this type of thing. And just like Kylie Rodney, her case raised awareness about the Truckee Way and all the people that disappear in that area, and a lot of other crap. Micah's case is bringing to light something like that that's extremely important. And a lot of people are familiar with it, gang stalking and street theater, and a lot of people aren't. So it's great that her life being lost can not be in vain. You know, her and Gabby Petito both, I believe, were lost to domestic violence. Obviously, Gabby's was, and I think Micah's was too. And raising awareness about the domestic violence, raising awareness about the covert control, the types of things that JP would do to her, that the family and the lawyer are just simply trying to get the laws to change so that domestic violence laws are not from the dinosaur ages, but they're keeping up with technology. And, you know, especially with AI making all the progress that it's made recently. I mean, we were all warned a few months ago that it was a whole new ball game with that regard. So before I wrap up, let me quickly too, I do need to go. I want to bring up Kate Middleton because, you know, she's come out of her hiding after 6 months and she's shown her face, and some people have questions and still don't think things look right. It seems pretty apparent that she got a facelift, right? That's like where the conversation is at this point in time mostly. But was that to just improve her looks? Like, is that what was going on this whole time? Was that, I mean, no, I don't think so, because it was an emergency on December 28th. Was her face injured? Was it somebody else that had to get cosmetic surgery to look more like her? I mean, that's the allegation that people have had with the Paul McCartney, you know, and they even call Paul McCartney ever since 1966, I think it was. They call him Faul, Faul, for fake Paul. There's a lot of people that are in that camp that believe that Paul McCartney was replaced by a body double. I told you the guy's name was William Shears, and he was allegedly law enforcement from Canada. But there's always going to be body doubles with famous people. They always have body doubles as decoys for crowd control and that kind of stuff when they're leaving a concert. So, of course, you're going to have a lot of body doubles for the Royals, too. And a little nip tuck here and there can go a long way. I think we still haven't heard Catherine's voice. So that's interesting, right? Are they concerned about the voice? I don't know. Anyway, I just think it's really curious. I think there's definitely something going on with her that is more than what they're saying with the prophylactic cancer chemotherapy. Like, no, that's not normally. Something like that would be radiation therapy, not chemo. So the chemo is to treat the cancer. The radiation is to make sure you got it all and to prevent a relapse, as far as I know. I mean, I said it the other day, and I believe that it's true, that every single case of cancer is unique to that person and that experience. So I don't want to act like I know things about hers in specific, but whatever happened on December 28th, why did they keep that secret? They kept it secret when it happened. They kept it secret for a long time. If it was an illness, why not just say there's been an illness? If there was an incident, you know, like she fell off the trampoline again, just say she fell off the trampoline again. And, you know, I'm being sarcastic about that because she had that injury on her hand. And anyway, enough. Thanks for being here, you guys. If you are still here, I'm going to sign off, and you might not see me again until early next week. So in that event, I apologize in advance. Love and light. Have a great weekend. I hope that you can take really good care of yourself, eat well, stay hydrated, get fresh air and sunshine and exercise. And just know that if you want to do a little bit of yoga, you can find my very last regular video is an instructional yoga video of my masterclass that's pretty recent. I don't even think it's a week old at this point. So it's got the audio that's okay. You hear some mumbling in the background because anyway, I don't have time to explain it right now. And then you also have the visual cues. So you've got a videotape of me doing the whole routine, listening to me reading the instructions. And so in signing off, you have a great weekend too, sweetie. Thanks for being here and letting me know that you're still here. In signing off, I want to share with you a change that I made. So I've been making these little subtle tweaks on the masterclass still. And this one is just like 24 hours old. So you guys know how much I love the eagle arms, right? This. And when you do eagle arms, you push your elbows up slightly and you lean your neck and head down slightly. And then it just feels great across your shoulders. But then I'm adding moving up to look at the ceiling and get a whole new angle of a stretch. So if you try it, or actually you don't even need to try the whole routine. You can just do that now. Here, I'll do it on the other side. So you got left elbow over the right elbow, push the elbows up slightly. Here, let me turn. And then lean forward slightly. That tension is great across your shoulder blades. And then moving up. And if you have a neck injury, don't do it. But if you feel confident that you can do it safely, it's a very safe exercise. But the looking up is something I never thought of. And somebody was doing it in one of the classes that I took this last weekend. And I thought, I'm putting that in my thing. So I love it. It feels great. My shoulders feel better already. That is definitely where I hold my tension. Anyway, peace out. Love and light. Have a great weekend. Take great care of yourself. And thanks for watching.